Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we have some super exciting news as Hasbro have literally just dropped one of the biggest live action movie segments on one of their fan streams for Transformers Studio Series. We have waited years for the reveal of the leader class figure that they officially showed off today, and my goodness, I think this is probably one of the best streams that I've watched from them in such a long time, as all of their Studio Series reveals have been smashing, absolute knockouts, and I cannot wait to get them into the collection. So we'll waste no time whatsoever and delve into one of the brand new core class figures that they showed off, that being the 86 Rumble. Now here over on the channel, I've actually got quite a few questions about this character. To be honest, I really didn't know what to expect, but it actually looks to be a really cool character. Now straight off the bat, this guy has been coloured in blue and purple. I know that will be rather controversial. Personally, I don't mind. We'll no doubt see a repaint of this guy down the line, but it looks fantastic. Now it is a lot smaller when in comparison to your standard core class, and it was said by the design team that the reason behind that was so that he was still compatible with the likes of Netflix Soundwave and the Legacy Blaster, which I think is fine, and I think as far as the accessories go, he more than makes up for it, as he will actually include the pile drivers, which I think are just fantastic. Now robot mode wise, probably one of the best looking Rumble figures that we've ever seen. For the core class, I think they've knocked it out of the park. This guy looks way more movie accurate when in comparison to some of those micro cassettes that we saw released for Transformers War for Cybertron. You can see those huge pile driver accessories on his arms. They look awesome. He'll also come with the blasters, which can be attached either onto the forearms or onto his back, and here we have him transformed up into the cassette mode, which I think overall comes together to look really nicely done. So definitely excited for this guy, but as you guys all know, I am a live action movie fan till the end, and my goodness, some of these Bayverse reveals are just extraordinary. They literally blew my socks off, and one of them which surprised me way more than the others was our first deluxe reveal, that being Studio Series Transformers The Last Night Hot Rod. Oh my goodness, this thing looks insane. For a deluxe class figure, it really does look amazing. I think they've done a smashing job, and I'll no doubt mention in my review of this guy that it absolutely destroys its original counterpart, as this guy just looks exceptional. Now robot mode wise, I think they've done a terrific job. The head sculpt looks fantastic. I really like how they've still been able to keep the front of the Lamborghini as the chest, but it's nowhere near as flat looking as the first version that we saw released in 2017. It does sit up at a slight angle. This guy has just got so much mechanical sculpted in detailing for the chest, for the arms, for the legs. I think proportion wise he looks spot on. The colours look great, the way the orange sits around those bottom parts of the chest, the legs all look awesome, and he does actually include his stop the time gun, which I thought was too a really nice inclusion. It's been sculpted and painted beautifully, and just overall this is looking to be a stunning figure. And the figure was also further shown off on the live stream to have a pretty cohesive backpack with articulated door wings, much like we saw in that Transformers 5 movie. So Hot Rod, absolutely a fantastic figure. I'll be really intrigued to see how he articulates, considering he does appear to be a slightly more complex design. I'm wondering whether or not he'll have a waist joint or ankle rocker pivot. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but bot mode wise he looks flawless. And then we move over to the Lamborghini Centenario, I believe it's pronounced, and this thing, much like its original version, looks incredible. It actually looks better as they've been able to capture the rear spoiler detail, and it was also shown off in the live stream that he's got loads of minute details at the rear of the vehicle just to better match what was seen in the film, which I think is fantastic. Now considering that he has a very sleek and elegant looking robot mode, I don't think it's compromised the vehicle mode at all. This thing looks really well done. You can see how the blaster will attach onto the back. It's got all of those amazing orange highlights as you would expect from the character of Hot Rod, and overall this is looking to be one of the coolest deluxe figures that we've seen for Studio Series this year, even beating Sideways, which I thought was a fantastic update, not only in terms of its original figure, but also in terms of the character model, as we up until that point really didn't get a great glimpse of how the character appeared in that Revenge of the Fallen movie. So Hot Rod definitely blew my socks off when he was revealed, but it doesn't end there, as they also dropped a second character for Transformers The Last Night. And before we actually delve into this, it was hinted that they do know that there are other characters that they are yet to get to, so I'm almost certain that this time next year we'll see more of those Transformers 5, Transformers 4 characters injected into the Studio Series, as up until this point they have been rather neglected. So definitely looking forward to those. But the next deluxe reveal we had is one that we've all been waiting for, myself in particular. I loved the character in the film. I definitely thought he was one of the standouts of Transformers Age of Extinction, but this time we're first of all going to be seeing him released in his Transformers The Last Night form, and it is deluxe class Crosshairs. Now this is such a difficult character to actually translate into an action figure. The original version was decent, but considering they were going with that whole simplistic transformation idea idea, they were very limited. This time around with the Studio Series, I think this is one of the best Crosshair figures that they've ever put out. The attention to detail for the head sculpt looks immaculate. He doesn't actually have the goggles, which have been painted unlike the original version, and the trench coat. I mean, come on, how cool is a Transformer with a trench coat? And it's not only so difficult to translate into a figure, but it's also difficult to keep the balance right, as considering it is a more complex design, you do have to make sure that the vehicle mode looks accurate, and so does the robot mode. But here I think they've done a really nice job. The only thing that I'm not too keen on is that for kind of the midsection of the torso, you can see the front or the rear wheels just sticking behind. They don't look the greatest, but it was also shown off in the live stream that you will be able to flare open the cape, much like we see when he's parachuting in Transformers 4, so I thought that was a neat touch. He's got loads of sculpted in mechanical detail for his chest. He just looks fantastic. He actually comes with 2 of those weapons, unlike the first version that we saw released in Age of Extinction, which merely only included 1, so that's really nicely done. And judging from this image, he will actually have angle pivot, so that's super cool. Then we move over to the Corvette Stingray, looking flawless. This actually looks like it cannot transform. When I saw it, it instantly reminded me of some of those Jada diecast vehicles, so they really have done a fantastic job in recreating this. I think the paint deco looks immaculate. It is actually painted on both sides, something which we sadly didn't see on the original Age of Extinction version. It's officially licensed, so we have the Corvette logo slap bang at the center. I think the green deco looks awesome. It does have the movie accurate rear spoiler, so overall, definitely an incredible figure. But the next reveal for the live action movies is one that we have all been waiting for. It's one that I've been mentioning over on the channel since 2019. It's the freaking Fallen from Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. This thing, oh my goodness, for the longest time appeared as if though it would never get made, and then we saw some of those leaked listings towards the end of last year, early this year, and we have just been anticipating, waiting for the Fallen to rise again, and here he has in 2022, and he looks absolutely fantastic. Now this figure had a lot to live up to. The original Hunt for the Decepticons version that we saw released way back in 2010 for the longest time has not only been the best version of the Fallen that we've seen for the live action movies, but it was pretty much a flawless figure. It was a great scale, especially when compared to some of our newer Studio Series figures. It actually had the give me your face gimmick, where you could tear off the face of the Fallen to reveal the internal endoskeleton, and this version actually came with the staff. The only thing that was letting it down would be that it was in a really bizarre color scheme, and I think what they've done with this new Studio Series version is fantastic. Now straight off the bat, I know there'll be some out there wondering as to why this version of the Fallen 2 also has some metallic blue highlights. Well, if you actually go back and watch the movie, especially when the Fallen does finally activate the Sun Harvester, he is quite blue, especially where the head is. So I think these highlights are accurate. Hasbro are basing this off the actual ILM CAD file, so you can't get any more accurate than that, and I just think they've done such a wicked job. Now this version, just by taking a look at the robot mode, looks fantastic. Super accurate to the movie. He does actually include the staff, which can be split into 2 individual handheld weapons. I do believe Optimus or the Fallen snaps it towards the end of the film. I'm pretty certain that's what Prime uses in order to tear the Fallen's face off in that final battle. So if that's the case, that's a really nice attention to detail, but the staff in itself has got loads of detail. I think the face sculpt just looks incredible. The actual mask itself looks as if though it's literally jumped out the movie. They've actually been able to recreate those appendages that he had sticking out of his chest. They do attach onto the arms. They have ball joints and various different hinge joints, which I just thought was such a sweet attention to detail. On the original version, you really weren't able to pose the arms around if you had his arms attached to the torso, whereas with this version, that is not the case at all. He looks super cool when you're actually moving them around, and for those who are perhaps not too keen on this look, they are simply just on ball joints, and you can detach them, creating for an even cooler dynamic range of motion. I also think that the shoulders look great. Those blue and burning orange highlights look wicked. If anything, I do believe he should have slightly more orange highlights burning through him in the movie. It always appeared as if though he was alive internally, but I still think what they've given us looks amazing. Now sadly, we can't really gather a good sense of scale of this character. Of course, in the film, he was incredibly big, and seeing as this is a leader, I'm hoping that he's almost the same size as Jetfire. I will actually have my own personal review going up over on the channel towards the end of this week for this character, so definitely be sure to stay tuned to that. But something which I thought was just so awesome about this figure is that not only have they included the staff, not only have they given us a super accurate movie deco, but they've also, once again, much like that 2010 figure, incorporated the give me your face feature, and you can tear the face of the Fallen off to reveal the internal endoskeleton, which is just fantastic. Without a doubt, this is shaping up to be the best version of the Fallen that we've ever seen, and it's sad to say, but I guess in some ways good, that Hunt for the Decepticons version will definitely be retired after I get my hands on on this guy. Now, I know that this guy did leak sometime last week. There was a pretty crappy image of him floating around, and none of us really knew what he would transform into, as in the film, he never had an alternate mode, and the original version kind of turned into a Cybertronian jet. I did hear there were some rumors that he would transform into the almost throne that we see him in the beginning act of Revenge of the Fallen, but no, this figure, much like his original counterpart, will transform into a jet, which to me kind of looks like a xenomorph. It definitely is giving me alien vibes, but it's really cool, really abstract. I do like how the appendages become these almost weird flared out pieces on the side of the wings. That looks fantastic, and the staff does split into two once again to attach to create these almost daggers. So if this thing is flying towards you, he's definitely taking you down as a victim. I just think he looks so cool, and here we actually have some in-hand images with the designer, and it looks to be a massive figure. I definitely do think this is going to be a really big leader class, definitely worth the wait. This thing looks absolutely incredible, and I think the design team should be proud of themselves. All of these Bayverse reveals in particular have just been absolutely smashing, and it's so cool to see proper live-action movie Bayville reveals officially by Hasbro on one of these fan streams, as for the longest time it has been dominated by Legacy and the SS86 toy line. So I'm absolutely blown away. Honestly, after this review, I need to take some headache tablets, have a lay down for a bit, as I'm just so happy with what I'm seeing. I actually think I've popped a blood vessel, so really excited. The Fallen looks killer, Crosshairs and Hot Rod, my goodness, and even that tiny core class Rumble, I think they did a really good job on. So fantastic live stream today. I couldn't be any happier than I am. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. As mentioned previously, be sure to stay tuned to the channel for a proper full-on review of The Fallen coming incredibly shortly, and you guys know that I'm going to deliver. I'm going to make it the best review that I possibly can, so definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button. As always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.